Hello and welcome. My name is Peace Mitchell and I'm co-founder of Women Changing the World Press. Before we begin, I would like to pay my respects to the traditional owners and elders past and present of the land that I live and work on, the people of Mamu Country, North Queensland. I would also like to pay my respects to traditional owners and elders past and present right across Australia and the Torres Strait. Well, we're here today to celebrate the launch of our new book, Women Living Fearlessly. This book contains the stories of 25 incredible women from all over the world who share their journey of living courageously and being fearless in their pursuit of their dream life. And I'm so excited to have one of my fabulous fellow co-authors with me here today, Farah Mack. Hello, Farah. Join me.
Hello, beautiful Peace. Thank you so much for having me. And I love the little introduction and huge kudos and congrats to the cover. I haven't seen the inside of the book yet, but the cover is just magical. You can feel the power and you can feel the stories emanating from that divine cover. So thank you.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. And yes, it is an incredible book. The stories in this book are so powerful. And I know that our readers are just going to love reading this book. It's amazing.
I can sense transformation from each story for every reader.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Farah, for people who haven't met you before, I would love you to introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about you and the work that you do.
Okay, my name is Farah Mack. I'm an actress, author, activist, speaker. I wear many hats, and when people say to me, "What do you do?" I think the best way to summarize. So I'm creative with a very strong sense of social justice and impact, and I'm the founder of the movement, which is a social enterprise created to educate, inspire, and empower women and girls about the value of self-worth. And through that, we do workshops, keynote speaking. We've got beautiful affirmation cards, different products to cultivate self-worth, and currently in development of a feature documentary, which is really exciting.
Fantastic. I love all of those things that you're doing, Farah, to help women to recognize their self-worth and how valuable they are. Your chapter is called Dear Younger Me. Can you tell us about this title and why this was the title that you wanted to go with for your story?
I was looking over it again just before we connected here, Peace, and I actually got tears welling up in my eyes when I started reading it. So the Dear Younger Me came from, which I talk about in my chapter, a mentoring session with a coach of mine in the film and television industry who had me do this exercise, write a letter to my younger self, which then evolved into my film, She Shines. And when I started writing those three words, Dear Younger Me, I was overwhelmed with emotions because the words that flow on from there are, I know you're feeling lost and afraid. I know you're feeling scared and like the whole world is crumbling down around you. Again, I'm feeling. So it was writing a letter to my younger self who was going through a really traumatic, harrowing time in her life to reassure her that everything was going to be okay and that all her hopes and dreams will come to fruition. So the chapter of the book came from that experience, from me literally writing that Dear Younger Me letter. And then I've kind of crafted it in a way where I take the reader on a journey with me and how to do that process for themselves and what it does and the transformation and all of the things that come from those three powerful words.
Oh, I love that so much, Farah. And I was reading your chapter this morning and I felt emotional as well when I was doing it. And I actually engaged in the activity because your chapter takes you through the steps. And so I wrote a letter to my younger self as well. And I found it really powerful. You describe in your chapter that this process is to be like a journey of reflection, renewal, and rejuvenescence. To reach this reawakening, you must venture through the valleys of the unknown, climb arduous mountains, and navigate the darkness in search of the light. Can you tell us more about this and about the process itself?
Yes. So I found in the process of myself writing that Dear Younger Me letter, because I really dug deep and I allowed myself to go back to that dark night, the soul moment in time where I felt lost and afraid and alone. And so, but what I found when I walked through that process again as the empowered version of myself, that in that darkness you find the light and you find the healing and the rejuvenescence. And I use symbolism throughout my chapter, like the caterpillar transforming into its most form as a butterfly. And it is actually fact that when the caterpillar is breaking free from its cocoon, it's actually strengthening its wings. So I see that as an analogy for us women, that when you are breaking through something, that it's a really challenging time, or overcoming a trauma or an adversity, that you're actually strengthening yourself. You're strengthening your own metaphoric wings. So the power in journeying through that darkness to find the light, and the light then grabs that power to overcome the darkness, and then you're in the light and you're elevated and you're empowering and you're rising.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I love the analogy of the butterfly strengthening its wings. So powerful. So, this process helped you to become unblocked, fearless, and freed you up to be more creative and vulnerable. You were working on your She Shines project at the time. And you said there is power in writing, there is healing in writing. Can you tell us more about the healing power of sharing your story?
There's just abundant power in writing and healing, and I've been writing a lot this year, thanks to yourself and Karen and other people that have come in my orbit. I've just written a children's picture book that's about to come out, and that, do you know what that did for me? The power of writing in that, it actually helped me tap into my inner child. So go back into little Farah's hopes and dreams and what she wanted to create and what she dreamed of. So the power of writing that kind of narrative literally tapped back into my inner child, to the point of I went and bought myself a She-Ra t-shirt, a pound puppy toy, and a rainbow bright handbag. Things from my
I love
childhood,
that.
trying to recreate that and finding that joy and wonder in that inner child. And coming back to my Dear Younger Me chapter in Women Living Fearlessly, this journey itself, writing this chapter for your beautiful book, really helped elevate and escalate my healing. I've been on a healing journey for many years in various ways that have empowered me to become who I am today. But this process of writing it out, it almost like was like a love letter to myself, but to every woman, to any woman who is ready to embark on this journey and discover her inner strength and cultivate her self-worth and find her strength and power and all of the sparkle within. Then this letter, I've written the chapter almost like a letter with the practical steps on how to do it. I tried to make it both heartwarming, like to connect with women's hearts and souls, but also give practical step-by-step guidance on how to tap into that and find that for yourself. I'm trying to act as a guide for women, because essentially it's your journey and you need to tap into your magic and your sparkle power within. But if someone can guide you through it, through the process of reading and writing, and then hopefully empowering our readers and our beautiful audiences to embark on that for themselves.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I also love how you connected with your inner child by, going out and getting yourself the rainbow bright handbag and the She-Ra t-shirt and all of those things. That's so fabulous and so fun. And I think sometimes we forget to do that. But the other thing that we forget to do is to face our fears and face the dark night of the soul. And so it was really interesting in your chapter, you talked about that part of the process is being courageous enough, being fearless enough to face the dark night of the soul. And I know that this is something that so many people refuse to do. They prefer to numb the pain or turn away from these feelings and push them down. Why is processing these emotions so important in the process?
Oh, I think it's paramount to true healing and moving on. And I'll talk about something that I went through in therapy that I found really powerful, that helps me realize any sort of facing that dark side of the soul is what you need to do to unlock the trauma that sits within. So there's a therapy called EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And what they do is start with talk therapy, but then they'll do different exercises like you either follow their feet, tapping or whatever. And it actually triggers you back into the memory. So the best way I can describe it is, say you go through a trauma, there's a part of your brain at the back, I'm not very in science talk, so I'll talk in my language, that I imagine as like Pandora's box. So normally day-to-day things, if I was to go out and walk around the street today and bump into someone, and all the thoughts and all the things that happen in your day process in a certain way, and that's how your brain processes things. But trauma can actually get trapped into a part of your brain and stay in Pandora's box, which can lead to triggers. Little things might trigger when you don't even know why that's happening, because you haven't faced that trauma, you haven't allowed your brain to reprocess it. So I found in the EMDR therapy, it helped me go back into that and reprocess it in today, where I know I've survived it, I'm okay, I'm safe, all is well. And then that allows your brain to process that thought, and you're no longer triggered by things. It was like a magic fairy wand waving over me. And from that experience of going through EMDR therapy, I realized that when you're feeling safe, so it's obviously about discernment and making the decision, when you're feeling safe and ready to look into past traumas, dark night of the soul, fears, then do it from that safe space, but do it in a place knowing that when you look through it all and process it in a safe way, it's actually going to enlighten you and empower you and strengthen you. And from that, you have then the ability to help others heal through the lived experience and all that you've worked through. And I think some other fellow authors and I have talked about fear is often, if you look at it in the letters, false evidence appearing real. And the best way to describe that for me is, for example, you might be afraid of the dark or afraid of spiders, but I love those very little 8-legged things and the up by fire. So fear is really a perception, but that when it comes down to a trauma, which has been sort of what enlightened me to write this, it's going back into that, and again, maybe nurturing your inner child, nurturing that younger version of yourself who went through that, and reassuring them that they're safe and okay. And then you just find you feel like a Wonder Woman, a superwoman, that you've overcome it, you've empowered it, and you learn and grow from it.
Oh, I love it so much, Farah. And yeah, I totally agree. I think when we are healed, then we're better able to help other people around us heal as well. There's so many benefits to doing this work and to trying out processes like the letter to your younger self. I think there's so much healing in that. Thank you so much for your chapter in Women Living Fearlessly. I know that our readers are going to be so inspired by this, and I hope that they will embark on this activity to write a letter to their younger selves and find the transformation in it that I found by doing this activity, and that's so beneficial for you as well. And thank you for being here and chatting with me today. It's been so lovely catching up with you.
Thank you, Peace. I absolutely adore you, and really wholehearted thanks for creating this divine anthology. I can't wait to read everyone else's stories, but I'm completely captivated, as I said, by the cover, and I can feel the power, and I can't wait for every word to resonate. So thank you for creating this platform for people to share their stories.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Well, thank you to everybody who tuned in today as well. Make sure you grab your copy of Women Living Fearlessly at wcwpress.com. Thanks for now. Thanks and bye for now, everyone. Thank you, Farah. Bye.